YouTube channel today. My name is Toyin. Please comment, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I post great content. To all my new subscribers, thank you very much indeed for joining the channel. To all my existing subscribers, thank you very much for returning and supporting your girl. So today I'm actually going to change the topic slightly, and I'm actually going to talk to you guys about the travel ban restrictions that will come into 4th of October. So this information is very good for those that are in business, that need to travel for their business. I know people have been traveling already, but these are things to bear in mind because these changes seem to be constant. Okay, let's start off. So the first thing is, as of the 4th of October 2021, the traffic light system that we've currently got in play, that's going to be scrapped. You're going to end up having a simpler, straightforward system, which is the red list system. Any country that's on the red list system, based on the fact that you've got a jab or not, you've got to take certain precautions. Right. Number three, as of the 22nd of September, essentially what's going to happen is there are going to be 8 countries that are going to be taken off the red list. They are as follows. They are Turkey, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Egypt, Oman, Maldives, Kenya and Sri Lanka. All those 8 countries, as of the 22nd of September, will be removed from the red list. For passengers who are fully jabbed, right? If you've been fully jabbed, you have both vaccinations, you will no longer be required to take a pre-departure test to England from a country that is not on the red list. So you don't have to do that. But obviously, if you're not, you will have to do that. The same restrictions will still apply to those that are not vaccinated. Announced that near the end of October, the PCR test that is taken on day 2 will be replaced with a cheaper one. So let's just see how that's going to pan. If you have not been vaccinated, the same rules will still apply. Number 6, if you test positive, you still have to isolate for 10 days and you still need to follow those rules and regulations. It's obviously expected to stay in place till the new year. However, we have seen that things can just change just like that and we're just all on a lockdown again. But hopefully that's not necessarily going to happen, because I think it was recorded that over 44 million people have obviously been vaccinated. So obviously the more people that are vaccinated, the more likely they're able to contain this kind of issue. So I just want to make you aware that many of the things that I've listed, they only apply to England, not to everywhere else, because other countries have their own policy and procedure in which they are dealing with people that are vaccinated, non-vaccinated, red list, green list. They've got their own policy. So the things that I've listed only apply to and from the UK. Now, from what I've their website via what restrictions they have or not in play. So that's what I would advise you to do. I will also read on the government website that you actually have to have some sort of certification confirming that you are fully jabbed. You can't turn around and say, yeah, I'm fully jabbed, but you don't have no proof. So you need to have proof from, if it's from a GP or it's from some sort of medical body. Now, from what I've obviously said, you can obviously decipher that it's going to be obviously more simple and straightforward. Number 2, you will obviously going to see that there's going to be less testing and the costs are going to be reduced for those that are fully vaccinated. That does not apply to those that are not vaccinated. The same rules will still apply to you guys. I'm actually going to do a screen share now with you guys and show you what is the latest. Okay guys, so this is the website that you obviously need to go on to double check to see what the current status is for coming into England and coming out of England to a country that is on the red list. It basically tells you what happens as of the 4th of October. It obviously discusses the vaccinations and the relevant health bodies if you're flying into England from these countries. Um, it also talks about paying for a COVID test, passenger locator form. Obviously, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to take a pre-departure test. You don't need to do You don't need to do a day 8 COVID test, and you don't need to quarantine at home or in a place you're staying for 10 days after you've arrived in England. However, if you're saying that you've been fully vaccinated, you need to have proof, and I did mention that before. So you need to obviously provide your first name, your last name, your date of birth, the vaccine brand, the manufacturer, the date of the vaccine for every dose, and the country or territory of vaccination and or certificate issuer. That's obviously if you're coming into England. Yeah, that's if you're coming into England, I would assume. This is for England, so this is if you're coming into England. If your documentation from a health public body does not include all of these, you must follow the non-vaccinated. So just imagine you've been fully vaccinated and you have things missing on your certification form. It will be considered null and unverified. So you need to make sure all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed in terms of your certification. Okay, so it also talks about travel from the rest of the world if you're not fully vaccinated. So if you're not fully vaccinated, you're partially vaccinated or not vaccinated, you obviously got to follow the vaccination rules. So take a pre-departure COVID test that needs to be taken 3 days before you travel to England. You need to book and pay for day 2 and day 8 COVID tests to be taken after arrival in England. Complete your passenger locator form anytime in the 48 hours before you arrive in England, and quarantine at home. So if you read that in more depth, it obviously goes into it. But this is very important to remember. If you obviously live in the UK and you're traveling back home, it says from the 4th of October, if you're fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated, non-vaccinated, basically what you need to do, you need to ensure that you do these following things: take a pre-departure COVID test, book a quarantine hotel package, and complete your passenger locator form. This is if you're coming from a red list country, and when you arrive in England, you must quarantine in a managed hotel, including 2 COVID-19 tests. Okay, so if you're flying in a red list country, those are the kind of things you need to bear in mind. So let's look at some of the countries that is actually going to be on the red list. When I did look at it before, it seems like half of Latin America is on the red list. So, and you obviously got parts of Africa on the red list. So you've got places like Colombia, Brazil, Montenegro, Haiti's still on the red list. Oh wow. Okay, Panama, Paraguay. Yeah, it's just basically half of Latin America seems to be on the red list. Suriname, Uruguay, Venezuela. Obviously, you got some parts of Africa on the red list. Zimbabwe's on the red list. Peru's on the red list. Panama's on the red list. Okay, so I did explain to you before in the video that 8 countries actually will be taken off the red list as of the 22nd of September. They are obviously Bangladesh, Egypt, Kenya, Maldives, Oman, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Turkey. Those 8 countries will be removed from the red list. So this is all applying if you're coming into England from a red list country. So the COVID restrictions will still apply for those that are coming from the red list countries. It clearly seems. So you must take a COVID-19 test, book a quarantine holiday package, including 2 COVID-19 tests, complete a passenger locator form. When you arrive in England, you must quarantine in a managed hotel, including 2 COVID-19 tests. Let's see how much booking and staying in a quarantine hotel if you've been in a red list country. Okay, as they're saying that the changes to international travel So if you break the quarantine rules, you may face a penalty up to £10,000. And if you want to book a quarantine package, you'll obviously need to... So it says how to book a quarantine package. You must book your managed quarantine package before you travel to England using a booking portal administered by Corporate Travel Management. Okay, let's find out how much you need to pay. One adult in one room for 10 days, 11 nights, £2,285. What? Additional rate for one adult or child over 11, £1,430. Additional rate for a child 5 to 11, £325. You do not have to pay for children under 5. Prices are kept under review and may change. If you have not arranged a quarantine package before arriving in England, you could be fined up to £4,000. You will still have to pay for your quarantine package on arrival. So they're saying that when you come into England, you can only arrive at these ports. You can't go anywhere else. You can only come from, if you're coming from a red list country, you have to come through Heathrow, Gatwick, London, Birmingham, Bristol, or Farnborough or Biggin Hill Airport. Those are the only airports that you can come through, I think, if you're coming from a red list country. And obviously, if you have quarantined in a managed quarantine hotel and do not arrive in England and one of the designated ports of entry, you could be fined up to £10,000, and you will be charged for the cost of transportation to the nearest designated port of entry. Jeez. So yeah, so they're basically saying that if you're coming from a red list country, you need to go through these airports. If you fail to come through these airports and it's been discovered that you go through another airport, say like Luton Airport or something like that, they will take you back to designated airport. You'll be charged for the cost of travel to that airport plus any other additional fees. And the cost for one room and one adult is £2,285. And the additional rate for one child over 11 is £1,430. Obviously, children between 5 to 11 only pay £325. So, boy, you really need to be mindful of that. You really need to be mindful. So the red list is basically half of Latin America is on there, sitting on the red list. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks. Thank you guys very much indeed for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Share. Hit that notification bell and share. Thank you.